3 more races to go. It's the last race of the day for the OK and the OK Juniors, and the lineup is as follows. Chapard is on the front row alongside Eva Mallet, and Nicolas Picot and Thomas Imburg round out a clean sweep of the front 2 rows for France. Also, Alexander Tauscher, Olivier Goethe, Giuliano Holsum, Matthias Salonen, Ries Viveret, Corey Powles rounds out the top 10. Sandro Holsum, Enzo Peugeot, who's pole sitter for the OK Junior category, starts in 12th ahead of Daniel Greger from Germany. Tomuzan in 14th ahead of Lois Delbart. Jan-Peter Fritters, Jules Castro, Maxime Fouan-Castellin. I'm not too sure if his kart is... well, he's not showing up as a green light on my timing screen. Lars van Vark, who had that coming together and was not best pleased. And the first final will start 19th. Mads Ries and Loris Cabihul will also be at the tail end of the field. So it's just about a case of finding out what's going to happen here. Are we going to have a clean sweep of the top 4 by the French this afternoon for a second successive time? We're about to find out. 13 minutes on the timer. Gents, on your marks. Get set. Do we go green? Yes, we do. And I had to hold my breath there. I saw it go 3 wide heading into turn 1. Multiple drivers needing to exercise some caution. Maxime Fouan-Castellin getting stuck in, trying to go around the outside of somebody else round turn 4 with Jules Castro behind. And they need to watch out because they were called into the stewards a bit earlier on. So Maxime Fouan-Castellin will want to keep as much distance between himself and the GKS Lemons Power driver in the number 106. But let's see what keeps on happening at the front of the field. Tomuzan has just got past Enzo Peugeot. So we could be seeing some further moves up the field as just saw something happen through turn 10. So maybe there was a bit of avoiding action because right at the back part of the field is that Jules Castro. That is. And ahead will probably be Maxime Fouan-Castellin because I'm just trying to keep an eye out for people's respective liveries. I mean, GKS, Lemons Power, you can't not miss that. But yes, it is Maxime Fouan-Castellin who is about 3 or 4 car lengths ahead. But meanwhile, at the front, or a little bit further forward, just keeping an eye on what's happening a little bit further down the field. The 269 of Evan Mallet is now, I think that's... yes, because Nicolas Picot has just got past him for second position. So Chapard leads, having taken the win in the first one. Enzo Peugeot will look to continue the 100% winning streak in OK Junior. But 11 minutes, 8 seconds on the clock remaining. Corey Powles now up into 9th. Evan Mallet now down into 4th position. Imburg now up into 3rd, past the 269. Vivret from Belgium now up into 7th position. Sandro Holsum, Lars van Vark, Loris Cabihul have also been making inroads in the rest of the opposition. Mads Ries has now climbed up to 17th, and that puts him behind the OK Junior number 175 of Team 75's Daniel Greger. And looks like there was another move there, this time by Loris Cabihul, probably on Lars van Vark. But it is still a quartet of French musketeers at the front of the field, but one, well, there's one, a couple of drivers that might have something to say about it, and those two are battling between themselves at the minute. That's Alexander Tauscher from Germany and Ries Vivret from Belgium battling over 5th position. As, oh, nice work by Corby Powles, great manoeuvring there. Flew past the 271 of Matthias Salonen. And I think with him, with Kobe, went Olivier Goethe from Monaco. That's a brilliant move by the runner-up in last year's FIA Academy Trophy. And when I spoke to him earlier, he's looking forward to working alongside an OK world champion in the form of Italy's Lorenzo Travisanuto at CV Performance Group this season. And that's why I understand completely the decision that Kobe made to stay in OK and not do a dual campaign, unlike Mads Rees, who currently at the moment is still in 16th position. Loris Kabiho in the meantime has got up to 14th. Lars van Vark now hits the top 10. Ries Viveret has got past Alexander Talscher from Germany for that coveted 5th position. He's about 6.5 tenths behind Yvon Mallet. So could the Belgian throw a cat amongst the pigeons with the top 4 French drivers? There is a possibility. He might not be able to go for the top 3, but there's still 8 minutes and 43 seconds plus an additional lap, so what the heck do I know? But it's really good to see how this new category in OK and OK Juniors bringing a new life, a new sense of energy, and a new dynamic to the BNL. And it's something that I really enjoy. A very different noise to the Rotax roar that I normally hear at BNL and the Rotax Max Euro Trophy. But I tell you what, this is definitely a welcome one, I must say. Chappal now extends his lead over Nicolas Pico to just over 3/4 of a second. But Thomas Amborg is threatening the number 233 and is within about 2.5, maybe 3 car lengths behind them. Yvon Mallet has got a bit of a gap between himself and Ries Viveret, who's closed the gap to under 6 tenths. Then we've got the 213 of Alexander Tauscher, who I think is going to find himself being caught by Kobe Pauls. Pauls nearly took a 10th out of him on the last tour. And Pauls took nearly 2 tenths out of Alexander Tauscher that time around. Gap now down to 0.8 between 6th and 7th position. So Kobe Pauls is moving forward at more than just a canter. I think he's gone into full gallop mode here. Mads Rees up into 14th. Sandro Holsum up into 15th. Jan-Peter Fritters down in 16th. But Enzo Peugeot is not leading the OK Junior class anymore. It is now Germany's Daniel Greger from Junior Team 75. And he's got a gap of about 1 second between himself and the Frenchman on the 108. 6 minutes 45 to go. Chappard's gap now is 0.87 over Nicolas Pico. Amborg is about a further 2 tenths of a second adrift. Then it's a further 2.2 seconds to Yvon Mallet, who has got a very fast closing. Ries Viveret from Belgium, hot on his heels, trying to take away one of the top 4 positions, as Castro is absolutely fighting in the back part of the field with Enzo Peugeot. Lois Delbart and Maxime Foran-Castellan has got about a gap of half a second between himself and the 106. But Maxime Foran-Castellan, who won the OK Junior kickoff category 4 weeks ago, now finds himself in 2nd position. And what's more, he is closing on Daniel Greger to the tune of about 2.5 tenths a second a lap. He's just put in a 54.234, Daniel Greger, a 54.5, so the German's staying relatively consistent. But Castellan, I think, wants that class win. Him and Castro, I don't think, are seeing eye to eye. There were a few conversations in the steward's office when I was sort of out on a break a bit earlier on, and I could definitely see that he was not a happy young Luxembourger, that's for sure. However, getting back to the action as it stands, Kobe Pauls didn't go any faster than Alexander Tauscher that time around, but the gap between them is around 6 to 6.5 tenths. Meanwhile, Yvon Mallet is being chased. And the person doing the chasing is clearly Ries Viveret. Less than 3 tenths between the pair. Mallet takes a glance over the right shoulder and goes, oh dear, I need to hurry up. I need to keep him away. Well, Ries is going to have something to say about that, Evan. So you better watch out, because now, through turn 4, through turn 5, Viveret has the run and goes up the inside cleanly on Mallet, who switches back and retakes 4th position. That was a very, very quick, clean and fair exchange between the pair as they go through turn number 7. 4 minutes and 25 on the clock remaining, plus one additional lap. And at the minute, the gap between Daniel Greger and Maxime Forhan-Castellin for the lead of OK Junior is around half a second to 0.6. So let's just see what transpires with our leaders. So the lead now between Frank Chappard and Nicolas Picot is now 1.26 seconds. Rhys Vivret has actually dropped from Evan Mallet to the tune of, it was about 1/10 of a second between the two last time around. It's now dropped to 0.7 because Vivret, I think, trying to get past Mallet, compromised his lap time, and then all that did was it gave Mallet a 0.6 of a second advantage to swing the pendulum back in his favour. 3 minutes 30 on the clock remaining, plus one additional lap. Pico has now got Imborg incoming for that second position. Corby Pauwels isn't out of the woods. He's still in 8th position. He's behind Lars van Vark by about half a second, with Olivier Goethe from Monaco about 0.2 of a second behind. But the battle that I'm really keeping my eyes on, there's two in particular. Daniel Greger and Maxime Forhan-Castellin for the lead of OK Junior and potentially the victory. And then the second place battle between... Oh, it's happened! It's happened! Where did that come from Imborg? He went incoming. He sailed right past Nicolas Picot. Looks like, was it round the outside of turn 6? If he did that, that was an absolutely outrageous maneuver. Call it what you will, but that was absolute banzai and reckless abandon, and he thought, I've got him, I'm going to go round the outside, and he went for it, and he got it. Nice work, Thomas Imborg on the 2-2-3, which relegates Nicolas Picot down into 3rd position. Frank Chappard, in the meantime, extending the lead to now 1.9 seconds, with 2 minutes and 15 on the clock, plus an additional lap. The gap is decreasing between Greger and Forhan-Castellin for the lead in OK Junior, but it is still 0.47 between the pair. Greger's in 17th, Maxime Forhan-Castellin better watch out, because hot on his heels is the French driver by the name of Vincent Peugeot on the 108, who's about 0.2 of a second adrift. And it's just done a 54.3 is his best lap. Last time around, Enzo Peugeot did a 54.356. Maxime Forhan-Castellin did a 54.313. Daniel Greger, in the meantime, set his best lap of the race on a 54.548. And the fastest lap of this race overall in terms of the drivers is the driver in position number 7, Lars van Vark from the Netherlands, fully charged and fired up, and is throwing everything at it. And he's got past Alexander Tauscher in the process. What a job by the Dutchman on the 201 with TB Racing. He's come firing on all of the engine power behind him, and also all of the amount of grip that these Apex Vega tyres can give him as well. Gap has... Well, there's been a major development in OK Junior. What has happened to Maxime Forhan-Castellin? He's now... Well, he's got past... Well, Daniel Greger's dropped to 3rd in OK Junior. Enzo Peugeot and Maxime Forhan-Castellin have now overtaken the German. So the Luxembourger now is in prime position with around 36 seconds on the clock, plus an additional lap to take his first OK season victory. Never mind the kickoff here in the BNL karting series in 2019. Frank Chappard's gap over Thomas Imborg is now 2.37 seconds. And Lars van Vark is closing on Rhys Vivret and Evan Mallet, who are battling between themselves over 4th position. Oh, this is getting very close. A little bit of contact between the two. Left front tyre. Oh, and that's caught. Mallet has been compromised, or he just missed the braking point completely, because through have gone Rhys Vivret and also the number 201 of Lars van Vark. That's the rounding up of the top 5. So Evan Mallet now drops into 6th position. So the cat has been thrown amongst the pigeons, and it's quite clearly worked, because Mallet seemed to be a bit unsettled at that point. But it's the final lap, and at the moment Frank Chappard is 2.5 seconds ahead of Thomas Imborg, who will now have a bit of a gap between himself and Nicolas Picot to the tune of about 1 point, well, I think that's probably 0.8 of a second. Then it's a further 1.1 or 1.3 for that. Well, hang on. Vivaret is about 1.8, 1.9 behind Nicolas Pico. Then it's a further 0.6 to Lars van Vark. Evan Mallet, 3.5 of a second adrift. But let's see where our leader is. Here he comes. Nice work from lights out to checkered flag. It's been a clean sweep for France's Franck Chapard on the 2:34 that wins the second OK race of the season and also of the weekend as well. Ahead of Thomas Imburg, who snatched it away from Nicolas Pico. Ries Vivaret and Lars van Vark finished ahead of the number 269 of Evan Mallet from France. Alexander Tauscher, Oliver Goethe, Corby Pauls and Matthias Salonen rounded out the top 10 in terms of the OK category. But it was Maxime Fouron-Castellin from Luxembourg in the 1:36 that takes the class win in OK Junior, ahead of race 1 winner Enzo Peugeot, with Lois Delbar, Daniel Greger, and a very forlorn, I might add, Jules Castro, rounding out the 5 strong that competed. All 21 competitors finished the race, and rounding out the rest of the OK contingent from 11th onwards, Loris Cabihou came back fighting, as did Mads Ries, to complete the race in 11th and 12th respectively. Tom Mouzan finished in 13th, ahead of the German pairing of Sandro Holsum and Giuliano Holsum in the 2:98 and the 2:08, with Jan-Peter Fritters being the last of the classified OK senior drivers here. So Chapard wins by 2.63 seconds ahead of Thomas Imburg, with Nicolas Pico making it a clean top 3 sweep for France and for VDK Racing.